Hi guys, welcome to another video, and this is a bit of an interesting one. So this is literally an in-depth look at the camera app on the Huawei P60 Pro, but this camera app does relate to a lot of Huawei devices, as let's be honest, it hasn't really changed much over time. So I'm going to try and keep the background dark so you can see a lot of what's going on the screen. So when you first load up the app, you can see you've got the standard photo mode with the red dot. You've got your shutter button, and you've got this new here. So if you run in on EMUI 13.1 and upwards, you get these new settings at the bottom. They're exactly the same as the settings at the top, but they're now at the bottom. So as you can see at the top of the app, you've got the same settings there, and you've got them at the bottom. So basically, all this is just almost an afterthought. They've just been bolted on. Because I'm so used to Huawei devices, I still tend to find myself using them at the top, because I do find it a little bit easier to use still. The idea of these is to make it easier one-handed, but to be honest, once you get used to it and using the phone in landscape anyway, then it seems to make no difference. So you can see here if I tap on these, so these are Huawei's X image filters, well, the color profiles. So you can see you've got original, vivid, and bright, and that will change up the look and feel of your photo. So as you can see now, I can either tap at the top to get rid of it, or tap at these bottom here. So if I tap at the top, it's exactly the same thing. However, if I want to do it from the bottom, which they say is easy, I have to go into here, then I have to go into X image, then I have to select the one I want. So I find just using it at the top, just like this, makes it a lot easier. You've also got your then you've got the AI mode, which you can either turn it on or off. It does kind of help in certain situations, but not all situations. But that's down to you. I don't notice too much difference. I tend to just leave it on. Now you've got your settings. Now, again, it is starting to feel a little bit outdated. We don't get as much control as I would like, but you can change your aspect ratio, which changes basically, obviously, the sizing of your image. You've got the audio control. So this is where you can say a keyword to take a photo. Capture smiles, which is where it detects a smile and it will take the photo, which is quite useful for using it on a tripod or leaning your phone against something when you are on holiday. So again, video resolution, we've got the video settings and the photo settings all in one menu, which again, I do quite like the fact of seeing one menu. I just don't like we don't have various options. So you can see you've got 4K at these frame rates, and then you've got your frames per second at these frame rates. So again, there's no 120, there's no 24 frames per second. However, we can go into that later because there is a little trick about getting the phone to shoot in 24 frames per second. This high efficiency video format. So again, you can read here what it says, but yeah, I tend to leave it on because I haven't noticed any restrictions in terms of when I'm uploading videos. So HDR Vivid. Now, a lot of people have been asking, why is this grayed out? This is grayed out because the frame rate's on 60 frames per second. If you drop it to 30, you can see this option does come alive. Again, it does just boost the colors. To be honest with you, it tends to make your videos way more contrasty and way more saturated, so I don't tend to have it on. You've got horizon grid, so if we turn this on and then go backwards, you can see now you've got the grid as well as a horizon level. Now I keep the horizon level on because I find it a really useful feature, and I love the fact they've put it across the whole screen, not just the shutter button like some other brands. But again, the grid for me I don't find too useful, but the level is fantastic. The timer, again, you can basically just set a timer, so after you press the shutter button, it will do a countdown of whatever time you set it. It is quite useful if you've got it on a tripod and you do want to just get yourself in a photo or get a certain object at a certain time in a photo. Mirror reflection, again, that's for the front camera only. Again, it's quite nice to have, but I'm not really a selfie taker anyway, so I never really used it. But it means if you are shooting in a mirror, it will keep the orientation of the photo the same way around as what you take it, if that makes sense. Watermark, we've got two options. We've got the standard sort of traditional Huawei watermark, and then we've got this like newer style one, which I opt for here, which you can see on a lot of Chinese devices. Again, that just adds basically the brand into the bottom of the photo. It's quite a nice option in my opinion. It just gives that image a bit more character. Floating shutter, again, another nice option, arrived from the I believe from the Mate series devices, where you had sort of the 90-degree angle on the Mate 30 Pro. So if you tap this on, you can actually add a slight shutter button to the side. I don't think you have to see it. Oh, you can see it. Here we go. So you can now add this anywhere on the screen and take a picture. Again, quite nice if you sort of struggling one-handed or something like that. Again, I'm going to turn it off because I'm not a fan of that. You can obviously mute it as well, which means that any sounds of the camera app you know, like if you're taking a shutter button sound or something like that, they are going to be muted, as well as snapshots. Again, you can see various options here for taking snapshots. I keep it on, but I don't really use it. The reason why is the quality is not very good when you do it, but at least it's an option. And that is only, unfortunately, the options you get. There's no way to turn the image stabilization on or off. You know, it's starting to feel its age now, to be honest with you. It kind of does need a bit of an update. And, you know, why should they have all the control? We want to do certain settings and certain things ourselves, and I'd like to see more of those options included. But enough of my rant. So you can see here now you've got a QR code scanner. I'm not going to push it because it is going to try and probably launch a QR code app. It's like an extension of the quick toggles search bar you've got on EMUI. And then you've got these new sort of view ranges here. So you can see I can tap it into a zoom range here, and the phone will zoom in or out. Again, it's fairly smooth going. The other addition here is this zoom ring. To be honest, it's okay. It's not amazing to use. You can see it's still a little bit janky. I don't know if that's picking it up on the camera. But you can see, yeah, you have got different zooming options here. So you can see you can also tap the ring as well. So again, it's nice to have, but yeah, it's not amazing. So that's the main sort of, when you load it up and the main options covered. Now we can actually go into some of the modes. So the next one is aperture. Now I love this. I think this is fantastic. I think every smartphone brand should include this, set to a portrait mode. People say, oh, what's the point? Choose your portrait mode. But obviously with portraits, you know, you're basically focusing that efforts on people, where this is much made for more subjects. So you can see here, we can go into this. And now because you've got the amazing variable aperture on the P60 Pro and the Mate 60 Pro, you can actually do this physical aperture option you've got here. So obviously we can turn that main camera down. So I'm on the zoom camera now. Interestingly, it's making me not be able to change that. But if we go to virtual aperture, 0.95, and then obviously this will give you that super in-depth background. So you're going to see some of the lag now, and hopefully, here we go. But again, it doesn't always get it right, as you can see on this image, but at least you get an idea of what the actual option does. Again, it's nice to see that you can use this in video. Now, the reason why I bring this up as well is this will actually shoot in 24 frames per second in poor lighting conditions. It won't tell you, but yeah, that is a little fact there. So if you do want to shoot in a more cinematic style, go to aperture mode, go to video, and then go to go to your aperture settings, adjust it how you like, and then you can shoot in around 24 frames per second. I do find stabilization isn't as good though, so please take that on board. You can see at the top left, actually, you've got your frames per second here, and again, you can't change it. And unfortunately, it's only 1080p, it's not 4K, so that is a bit of a disappointment as well. Video settings, again, you can see your frame rates at the top and your resolution at the top. You can also click it and change it, so that's quite nice that you can toggle through it. Zoom ranges again still apply, and you still get your zoom ring. Again, with the camera app, you can actually video, and you can change the zoom levels in the video, which is nice. Obviously, some brands that you can't actually do it on, which is quite disappointing, but obviously you can. Beautify, again, I'd never use it, but if you are shooting certain people, it will add an effect and smoothness to their faces that, you know, removes any, what people call blemishes. But yeah, again, I don't use that. And also you can use the extra image filters on video, so vivid, bright, original. Again, just keep it on original. Vivid, too punchy, bright, just a mess. So just keep it on original. Pro mode, quite a nice pro mode. You can see fairly simple laid out. Nothing amazing here. You can shoot in RAW. You can also choose what RAW format you shoot in. Again, you've got flash, the X image filters, even in pro mode, which is quite nice. Now here, again, you can only use the lenses at their fixed focal lengths. You can't actually zoom in or out, and you can see now, here you go. So unable to manually adjust aperture, of course, because it doesn't have that variable aperture on all of the lenses. Obviously, white balance, and I can show you what all of these do later, because luckily Huawei include this. So if you are wondering what any of these do, I will leave this on the screen for a second for you. There we go. So now we can see what no focus at all, but yeah, here we go. If we go back to photo mode, it will actually reset the settings as well. So you can see then it had no focus. So now if I go back into pro mode, your settings will reset every time. You can lock them, but you can only lock the ones with the small white dot. So if you hold on it, it will lock the setting exactly where it is, and it will go red, and I can unlock it. Then if we go to more, these are where you got all these nice bonus modes. Again, some of these modes are really, really good, but we haven't seen anything new for a long time. Unfortunately, it's the same old modes you've seen before. Slow motion video, again, of course, you can shoot slow motion video. Again, you've got different options here. There we go. So again, I believe as well, unfortunately, it is only 1080p, and we can't shoot any 4K. I'll try and change it, but I don't think you can, unfortunately. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Panorama, obviously you all know what panorama is. That's taking that really long photo where you start one side and you just pan around quite smoothly and you'll get a really super wide photo. I don't personally use it, just using an ultra wide lens, but if you want to use it, the option's there. Monochrome, I really like this actually. I think this is a really nice effect. You know, if you're shooting in certain situations where you think that sort of vintage look would look nice, it's a really nice option to have. You can see if we zoom in with the telephoto here, I don't know, for example, let's take this shot here. And you'll see along with the watermark, you actually get quite a photogenic shot. Let's have a look at some of the quality as well. So you can see as we zoom in. I would say these modes are not that well optimized or processed, which is a shame. They're sort of just been put on as an afterthought. You can see here that the highlights are completely blown here, as well as the detail. So you can see in the bricks of the wall here, you've got some good detail. And then as soon as the light comes in, it just completely overdoes it. But yeah, you can see here as well, we've still got some details. Bit of noise creeping in, but overall it's not too bad. Other options we've got are AR lens, absolutely awful. I'm not going to show you that too much, but that's what it is. Back to light painting. These are really cool. You can do some cool effects with these, but again, you need a tripod to do it, so bear that in mind. It shows you what they are here. I'll see if I can get them all up for you, but star trails, silky water, I use that quite a lot. It's actually a really nice effect and it works really well as long as you're using it on a tripod. Time lapse. So you can see what a time lapse is just here. It records videos to appear to be sped up. Try it out on clouds and moving insect. We've got stickers. This is an odd one. You can sort of add certain stickers to your image. I've never used this in my life and I never will. Let's be honest, they all look pretty clunky. It's not great if I'm honest. Document scanner, really nice feature to have. You can actually zoom in as well. So you can see you can. It doesn't work super well. It hasn't been updated in a long time. It needs updating. You can see it really does struggle to find edges. And I know obviously here it's going to struggle, but when I have been using it in real life, and I do use it quite a lot, it does actually struggle quite a bit. Dual view, you can get different views on the go on different cameras, and you can also switch it around as well. So we can have it like this. High res mode, so this is where we're shooting its full 50 megapixel. But again, unfortunately, why can't we have this option for the ultra wide and telephoto? The only option you can use this for is the main camera. And as well, it is nice to see that you can actually pick now. So Huawei do this, they're sort of, I don't know how to describe it, but they're an enhanced version of a raw image. And you get more details and stuff. I think it's similar to what Samsung do. It works quite well, to be fair, but again, I don't use it super often. Story creator, and snapshot modes and multicam, sorry. So let's go to snapshot first. So this is where basically, if you've got a fast moving subject, you can push the button here and you'll get a very responsive shutter button, as well as a quick shutter speed and various other optimizations to make that take a better image in them fast moving conditions. But to be honest with you, it doesn't work very well in my testing at all. It's pretty poor. You're better off just shooting in a standard mode and hoping for the best. Multicam. Again, so this is cool. So if you have any other Huawei devices, you can actually link the cameras together and you can take various different angles from different devices and all of them be controlled by one device. Again, nice to have, but it's not optimized very well. I noticed when I had my Huawei Mate X3 alongside this that it was extremely juddery, and even the photos were nowhere near as well processed as if you was to take it with the standard camera app. So again, it needs some work, but at least the option's there. Story Creator, I've never used this in my life, but again, you can do different sort of stories and effects and stuff like that. Again, I've never really used it, so I can't give you too much information, but at least it's there. Super macro, again, this depends on obviously what phone you're using, but I'm using a P60 Pro, so I can talk you through it on the P60 Pro, where it has its telephoto lens and macro lens in one. Amazing camera, actually, absolutely one of my favorite telephoto cameras on any smartphone. Not perfect, of course, but it really is good for macro photography, and it really shows. So I've put it next to my photo because I use it quite a lot. You can also do manual focus, which is really nice. So you can see we can actually manual focus, and it will hold the focus where you want it, or you can keep it on auto, but it's nice to have the option. Night mode, again, interestingly, on the P50 Pro when it first launched, it was missing a few options. So you can see you can actually do the ISO level and the shutter speed. So the ISO level, obviously, you can boost, and the shutter speed you can also boost up to 32. Again, I don't really use it. To be honest, I don't use the night mode at all. The night photography in the standard photo mode is so good. It just doesn't really warrant the night mode anymore. So, you know, it's nice to have, and in certain situations, if it's super, super dark, maybe it's worth using. But I find you get better results just using the photo mode because it can come across oversaturated. But these options were missing on the P50 Pro. They're now back on the P60 Pro after a few complaints. The last but not least is the portrait mode. So again, depending on what camera you're using or what phone you're using, because this app is the same on all of the Huawei devices, by the way, you are going to have different options here because the phone is going to want to take portraits with different lenses depending on what device you're using. But again, you can get slightly different effects here. I can't really show you them because I'm not really aiming at anyone in particular. But yeah, wouldn't bother with those. And you've also got Beautify, which again I wouldn't bother with too much. Just leave it on 5 or something. So that is all the options on the camera app. So as you can see, that's a look at the Huawei P60 Pro alongside the Huawei camera app. If you liked the video, please like, subscribe and comment below.